But I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, about the case of a woman who killed her child and was imprisoned and was recently released. A woman who was jailed, and I'm reading from the Guardian newspaper, a woman who was jailed for terminating her pregnancy after the legal time limit during the lockdown will be released from prison and reunited with her children after winning a court appeal effort to reduce her sentence. A Court of Appeal judge said that Carla Foster, 45, needed compassion, not punishment, saying her 28-month sentence would be reduced to 14 months and suspended. Sentencing her last month, Mr. Justice Pepperell said Foster would serve half her term in prison and the rest on licence after her release, after she admitted illegally procuring her own abortion when she was between 32 and 34 weeks pregnant. At the Court of Appeal in London on Tuesday, 3 judges reduced her prison sentence. Dame Victoria Sharp, sitting with Lord Justice Holroyd and Mrs. Justice Lambert, said, "This is a very sad case. It is a case that calls for compassion, not for punishment." Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I have just read to you, ladies and gentlemen, is a case in which the murder of a child in this country has just been made acceptable in our courts. The child that was murdered was, as the story points out, was a viable life 32 and 34 weeks into the pregnancy. And our courts and our liberal celebrities all try to portray this child murderer that practiced infanticide and killed her child at 34 weeks as a victim needing compassion. Ladies and gentlemen, a child at 34 and 32 weeks pregnant is a viable life. It is a viable life to have a child at that age. And the woman procured by lying abortion medicine that resulted in the death of her child. Why is this important, ladies and gentlemen? It is important because this is a watershed mark in our culture where we have come to accept the murder of children, where we have come to accept that killing your child is not worthy of punishment. If that child had been removed from the womb and the mother had suffocated the child, you would all condemn her as a murderer, and rightly so. But yet, when this child was murdered inside her mother's womb, despite the fact that the child was a viable life, our culture has said that she is a victim deserving of compassion. This is a sad day for Christianity. Brother, can you ask them to just take it a step that way? Ask the Christians. Take it a step that way. Take it a step that way. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost something important in our society. The sanctity of life has been lost. We have created a distinction between life in the womb and life outside of the womb. And we have said that life in the womb is less important than life outside of the womb. When you've got a minute, I'd love a drink of water. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost the fact that life should be sacred. And notice the hypocrisy of the liberal elites. The liberal elites on Question Time try to talk as if this was not a life. We've had children born at 24 weeks outside of the womb and kept alive. And yet they killed a child at 34 weeks. We all feel repugnation at the crimes of Myra Hindley for killing children. But what we have seen today, ladies and gentlemen, is the justification of infanticide. What we have seen in this case is the justification of child murder. This should alarm us. Truly, the liberal elites are under the influence of demonic forces. Marduk was an evil spirit that demanded child sacrifice. And we see in the Western liberal world that for the religion of self and self-gratification, even the murder of children is acceptable to the liberal elites. This kind of degeneracy, this kind of barbaric savagery in which we commit and justify infanticide is killing the West. It is a corrosive influence on our spirits and upon our souls. The more we have moved away from our Christian heritage, the more we have moved towards savagery and barbarism in the West. We must recover our own Christian identity and reject the liberal religion of self. And we must understand that the religion of the Western world is a religion of man worship. It is a religion of self-worship, where the sacrifice that is demanded is the lives of countless millions of children in the Western world, in abortion mills, where children are slaughtered in their thousands every single week of the year. The West is slitting its own throat. The West is cutting its own wrist. Because when we abandoned Christianity, we lost the sanctity of life that is upheld in the commandments, which states, "Thou shalt not murder." Murder is the killing of the innocent. And there is no one more innocent in the situation than I have just described than that poor child murdered by her mother and supported by the liberal elites who want you to believe that she did not commit a crime. And I want to point out to you again that if she had done this to her child outside of the womb, you would all be indignant. So why are you not indignant when she does it to her child inside of the womb? Ladies and gentlemen, liberalism is killing the West. Christianity is the answer to the cancer of liberalism. We need to return to a muscular Christian faith and to re-establish, without apology, Christian values and Christian attitudes to recover the Western civilization from the cliff that it is chucking itself off. Because if the West concludes that the lives of its own children are not important, then it concludes that none of our lives are important, and they can all be sacrificed to the religion of self. So learn what is the religion of self. Learn how it is different to Christianity, and learn to uphold Christian values without apology. And notice the importance of controlling the judiciary. Liberals control the judiciary in the UK. So infanticide has just been made less of a crime in the womb than outside of the womb. But in America, Christians control the judiciary, and abortion has just been made much harder. This tells us as Christians how important it is for us to capture the heights of judiciary and law in shepherding the people in the right direction that they must go. If we believe the Ten Commandments, then we must uphold that what this woman did was infanticide, and that her punishment should not be 14 months on a suspended sentence, but life imprisonment like Myra Hindley. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?